Everybody's doing it. It keeps on going up. Why would it go down? Well, you get to the point where it's just too damn high. Just because it's down 80 or 90% doesn't mean it's mispriced today. It may mean that it was mispriced last year. And with a lot of this, that's what it was. The money was so easy, it was so available that prices went too high. And it may well be that even though we're down, enormously, that we're in the right place in terms of pricing and we're finding the right place. And the problem isn't now, the problem was last year in the easy money. So first of all, look at the stock market. It's gotten, tech stocks in particular, high growth tech stocks have gotten torched even worse than crypto, right? Yep. I got tech stocks worth down a whole lot more than my Ethereum or my Bitcoin, or even my Polygon, right? They've just gotten torched. Why is that? Because it went too high. When interest rates are basically negative and you can get as much capital as you need, or some people can get as much capital as they need to go out and buy stocks thinking they're going to go up, why wouldn't they? You're borrowing at, let's say, 1%. And do you believe stocks will go up 1%? Sure. So yeah, it was $50 a year ago, but it's $300 today. So what? Everybody's doing it. It keeps on going up. Why would it go down? Well, you get to the point where it's just too damn high. Just because it's down 80 or 90% doesn't mean it's mispriced today. It may mean that it was mispriced last year. And with a lot of this, that's what it was. The money was so easy, it was so available that prices went too high. And it may well be that even though we're down, enormously, that we're in the right place in terms of pricing and we're finding the right place. And the problem isn't now, the problem was last year in the easy money. And so to your point, in terms of inflation, I don't necessarily think, well, first, there's two, when you talk about inflation with crypto, I always have to remember, there's two worlds of inflation with crypto. Right. There's the real world and there's the Bitcoin maxi world. People just deal with it, as best you can. And even though it's painful, and, I'm old. When I came out of college, the inflation rate was not quite as bad now, but the unemployment rate was more than 10% and this and that. And so it was a struggle, just like people are struggling now. Crypto isn't impacted any more or less than anything else. And it's not going to change what people do any more or less, right? If interest rates keep on going up, and that's translated into savings accounts that, and all of a sudden you can get a 6-month CD for 4, 5, 6%, or something tax-free for 4, 5, 6%, that's going to impact people's decisions, because you go from, okay, I might be able to make some money in crypto last year and I can make my 10% on my USDC last year, right? And that seemed to be relatively safe, or I'm willing to take more risk, to, hey, I don't have to fuck around and I can make 5% on this CD. That will impact the money that comes into crypto and stocks, for that matter. Then there's the Bitcoin maxi side of it. With the Bitcoin, Bitcoin, that's a hedge against inflation. Yeah, I don't see that working. I always analogize Bitcoin as it's a better version of gold. It's a digital version of gold, and I truly believe that. And all the gold maxis think it's a hedge to inflation. Yeah, not so much. If that were the case, gold wouldn't be wherever 17,000, 18,000, wherever it's at, it would be 30,000, And so there was a lot of hope that Bitcoin would do this or that. Now, where Bitcoin and gold do offer a hedge is in countries that are not reserve currencies, because the world uses the dollar. If you're in, pick a country, and they have hyperinflation, owning Bitcoin or gold is much better, because it's going to fluctuate relative to the dollar, or let's say the euro, and it's going to be stable, and it's going to look like a really good hedge against that Zumundo currency. But then so would the dollar. I think the Bitcoin maxis got it dead wrong. And I think part of the challenge for Bitcoin is, even with the Lightning Network improving and becoming more popular, there's not enough utility. But that's the same problem gold has. Nobody needs gold jewelry. People like gold jewelry and want it, but they don't need it. And so there's a utility issue with Bitcoin. But that said, like gold, it's a good store of value. It's a better store of value when you're trying to be diverse in your portfolio. And that's why I own it, because I think I have no idea where it'll go. I have no idea how low it'll go. But I do know that once there are applications with smart contracts, not on Bitcoin, but across crypto, that regular people use and figure out, just like streaming was a better version of getting audio and video than traditional media was, when there's better reason to use crypto applications, that's when it takes off. If I had to buy one today for a month, I'd probably buy Bitcoin, because there's not that push of applications right now. I mean, I'm trying to invest. If you got one that, is a business application that replaces not just fintech, but let's just say something you do in the office. Here's the way we've been doing it. I use this app all the time, and, it has nothing to do with fintech. It has nothing to do with collectibles. This is just, I'm using smart contracts on Ethereum or whatever blockchain, and it's made my life a lot more efficient and a lot better. When those start to happen, whichever blockchain they're on, bam, right? Then people start saying, oh, I got to use, it's just like, my 13-year-old wants Snapchat. Bam, I got to have Snapchat. Got to have, when I turn 13, I got to have Snapchat, or got to have Instagram or whatever it is, TikTok. What made people download TikTok? Why does every kid use TikTok? It doesn't have to be social media, and I think it'll come from business first, but we need that business application, the decentralized version of QuickBooks, decentralized version of whatever that is a crypto app that is just better. And when that happens, boom, because then people will start saying, well, if it worked for, I replaced DocuSign as an example, or I've got QuickBooks, decentralized QuickBooks, which allows me to buy or sell, or e-commerce even. Like I did this talk at the University of Chicago, and I only, and these are MBA students, and I was like, how many of you have used crypto? And about half had. I'm like, how many of you have used a crypto wallet to buy something? And about half to half did, or core of the people. And I'm like, of those of you who did, wouldn't it be a lot easier if you could just go to an e-commerce site, connect your wallet, buy what you want, click it, sign it, and have a lower transaction fee, and it's just paid like that? And if you were a vendor, wouldn't it be easier to just sell, knowing, because you get that cash immediately? And so you could probably sell for less with less friction. Yeah, of course. But nobody's done that yet. We've looked at it with the Mavs, and but there's so many, everybody tries to go through traditional means to connect your e-commerce through BitPay or whatever, through a bank, and that just gets convoluted.
How long do you think this bear market will last then? And so, is this going to be a long, dark winter?
No, it lasts until there's a catalyst. And that catalyst is going to be an application, or we get so low, people go, fuck it, I'll buy some. I look at stocks and I'll look at the market cap. I'm like, is Amazon, I own a bunch of Amazon, but should I buy more Amazon? It's $1 trillion market cap. That's not a fucking price, right? There's some other companies where you look at it and they're like, it's a $250 market cap, plus some debt now because they borrow cheap. I'm like, if this were coming public, if this were being pitched to me as a private company at this valuation on Shark Tank, would I invest in it? And if the answer is yes, I'll buy it, right? And if you think back, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, Matic, ICP, any of them, or even the new ones like Ape, and you look at the market caps and you see it's $1 billion plus market cap, or 6 billion or 8 billion or 40 billion, you don't look at that and go, that's cheap. Because if you remember back to, DeFi summer, these things were selling for less than a penny, and their market caps were in the hundreds of millions. And then you look at some things like ALCX, and you look at Uniswap, or SushiSwap rather, and even Uniswap, particularly SushiSwap, has got like a $250 million market cap. And then you look to say, why is that relatively cheap, right, compared to everything else? Well, because there's no utility there. You get paid it if you're an LP, but then what? Who's going to buy it from you? What's the reason to buy it from you? And so what happens is, it's not so much about the builders yet, but what happens is you'll see a consolidation. You'll see somebody whose market cap, if Cardano, everybody likes to pick on them, including me, but like they could use what market cap they have or what cash they have and start making acquisitions. And then you take the builders and you start consolidating them around what's the name of their smart contract platform, Pluto, or now all of a sudden you start consolidating those developer communities and user communities, and they become a little stronger by doing that type of roll up. And who knows what's going to happen with Near Chain? Who knows what's going to happen with Polkadot? But they all have high expectations. It's not cheap yet, and I think I'd rather get with somebody who says, okay, let's do a roll up. Let's combine a bunch of these who really don't have, you take Zilqua, you take this, you take that, and you match them all up together and you do a token exchange to a new token. You close 4 out of the 5 blockchains and you pick whichever one you think is best or has the best applications. You allow people to bridge over one time and, now all of a sudden your user base is 10x. Now you still have a problem of better applications, right? You still have to have some reason that people want to use that blockchain, but at least you may be able to have a better community to come up with ideas, because otherwise you're gone. And here's the positive thing, right? Let's look at decentralization, DAOs, and decentralization, right? We haven't started to see the thrust for companies that are organized around crypto yet. We've seen companies that use crypto to create applications, but a lot of people downplay decentralization, DAOs, because they're like, what's the point? But the reality is companies can't just start using decentralization because they're centralized. You're not going to have a health insurance company all of a sudden offer decentralized insurance in the example I gave, because they can't adapt their company to that. We're starting to see, and I'm starting to see slowly but surely, companies that are initiated and start off decentralized and integrate their employees, whether it's using DAOs or just tokenomics, but you make it so that the decisions are decentralized, so that the utilization is decentralized, using nodes to reduce costs. Because anybody who's done anything centralized using AWS for applications, it's expensive as shit, right? And if you're able to create an application that uses the node where somebody can use their PC as a storage facility, kind of like Filecoin or some of the others, but integrated into apps in less expensive ways, right? I'm just riffing on this, but you get my point, right? There are ways that better things can be done using crypto. We're just dipping our toes in. And again, it's not unusual. It's not unusual. Companies went public with nothing, and crapped out like that. But the good ones stayed. Same with crypto. All these apps, all, these tokens. Stop thinking about, the community and how much community value the community creates because you think that means there's a lot of buyers there. Stop thinking in terms of the number of buyers. Start thinking in terms of the utility. Would you use this on a daily basis? I can find reasons to use DeFi on a daily basis in some of my businesses. I'm just waiting. If someone had an interface between QuickBooks and, pick a Aave, and that's what I told them to do. I told those guys, I'm like, you need to create an interface with QuickBooks so people can push in their cash and withdraw their cash. Where now you're starting to see applications that will stream USDC to pay workers so they're paid in real time. That stuff is cool, right? I can see applications there. But when you're making a decision to buy, don't invest in a token or an NFT because you think there's a community that's going to buy it from you. Invest in it because either you like it as a collectible or because you like the utility and you would use it. If there's an app on crypto that you'll use, and not just because you bought the token, right? But because you have a real reason to use, that's what's going to bring crypto back, and that's what's going to accelerate it, and that's what's going to crush the hell out of Web 2 when there are applications that are better used with crypto. And I've got a lot of money that says that's going to happen.